All right, Manig Loeser. Hopefully I said that correctly again.
You did, yeah.
I'm from practicing. Well, thanks for taking the time. First time in Jeju?
Indeed, yeah, my first time here.
How do you like it so far?
I love it. It's really, really nice, yeah.
What about the poker now, here at APT?
Poker is insane in Asia, it seems like. I haven't been back in like 5 years or something.
Okay.
Last time, I believe, was Macau, like at least in these kind of stops. It's crazy.
Over $11 million in earnings, close to 12 million in earnings. Can you talk a little bit about your poker journey? You've been in the game for so long. You played in high rollers. You're a Triton Main Event champion back in 2017. What got you into poker?
Well, I started, like a lot of people, just with my friends in home games. One of my best friends in high school had a poker table at home. So we met there like twice a week, just playing for cents. And I just fell in love with the game and decided that's what I want to do instead of going to uni.
Well, did you ever go to uni?
I did not.
You did not?
I finished school in Germany. It's a little different than the American and other systems. I believe 13 years of school in total. And then afterwards, you can decide if you want to go to uni or not.
Right.
And I just moved directly to London.
So when did you have that pivotal moment of like, this is what I'm going to dedicate myself as a professional MTT poker player. This is what I'm going to do. When did you come to that realization? Was it an event? Was it a score? Was it someone you were watching on TV play poker? Like, what was it?
Very tough to define, but I would say, so one of my idols growing up was Gus Hansen. And well, still is. He's a great player. But he wrote a book where he explained all the hands when he won the Aussie Millions. And I was reading that book, and a few days later I won a satellite to the PCA, the 10K main event. Online satellite was like $30 buy-in or something, complete. Very, very lucky. And I took my dad to the Bahamas, and we just had an amazing time. And I busted the main event, but I think at this moment I decided I really want to travel the world and play all these EPTs and these kind of stuff.
Nice, nice. If you had to tell someone and convince them that you have a love of the game, what is it? Like, what is it that drives you about poker?
Very good question also. I really haven't found any other game that's comparable in the regard that you, like how many new people you meet. Just like the social aspect of poker is my favorite thing ever. I have so many like 10-year plus friendships from poker, met so many amazing people. And some of these people, it's like you really don't meet in normal life, I would say. And especially like in the high rollers, obviously even if they're recreational, they might not be good at poker, but they're probably good at something if they have the money to play.
Networking, yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
So talk a little bit about your huge score. Your biggest score ever was a Triton Main Event. What was that like? When, you know, like that's someone's dream. That's like the prestigious of the prestige, playing at Triton. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Sure, I mean, it was a really big one. It was funny because it was the first bullet and the first Triton event I ever played.
Talk about run good.
Yeah, it was a very spontaneous decision as well. It was, I was at WSOP and we talked about it, that there was a Triton starting like a week after the main event or something. It's a long trip from Vegas as well. But yeah, I went with a few friends, Fedor Holz, Steffen Sontheimer, and a few others. We all went there and I just ran insane from start to finish.
Yeah.
I was playing very aggressively back then, more so than now, I would say, and just ran.
So
insane,
did you take a little bit of a break after that and kind of like?
No, at that time, 2017 was probably the time that I played the most. I just didn't take any breaks.
That's
played
good.
Non-stop,
Yeah. So given that you're from Germany and you just mentioned some big names from Germany, what's going on in Germany? Like they've recently been running hot at Triton. Fedor just won some titles. You have Mario Masbach, the guys from Vienna. Like what's going on in Germany? How would you compare the poker there to the poker in Asia and the poker in the States, like in general? What's going on over there?
Yeah, I mean, both Mario, Fedor are good friends of mine. And I mean, the whole community, what they're building with poker code and this kind of stuff, they're just putting so much time in it and very motivated, very young, hungry to become the best. And then they're sharing so much time together and studying. So I think they're going to be unstoppable. It's new generation.
Mentioning community and friendships, is that one of like the key things that a poker player needs, would you say, to be successful in poker? Like, can you do it on your own in this industry?
It's an interesting question. I believe you can. I heard Patrick Leonard talk about the concept that he likes studying on his own. He obviously has very successful friends as well, but it's a smaller group, I believe. The German group, for example. I think you can make it on your own. I personally always enjoyed studying with people more than my own. but I think both is possible.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about Asian Poker Tour. It's your first time here. You just mentioned that the poker is insane here. What your experience has been like here for the Asian Poker Tour?
It's just so much more aggressive than other tournaments, I would say. Just a few hands. People don't like folding here at all. Yeah. They like getting in, and they like the thrill of being all in at showdown and just seeing the cards run out. I think that's a big thing here. Less mathematical. I'm not generalizing too much, but that's my
higher
impression.
Variance. Unconventional plays.
Indeed. You can fire a lot of bullets in these. I absolutely love the schedule they do here. Every day there's a high roller, one-day tournament. The 5K just now got like 200 entries or something, which is insane. It's the same time as Monaco as well. Yeah, I'm just very impressed, and everyone's having so much fun here. I don't see anyone's taking it too serious or being sad about busting out. Just everyone's
So when you're at the table and everyone's speaking Mandarin and laughing and needling, but you don't understand what they're saying, how are you navigating through that?
That is very funny. And I'm kind of used to it because I also played a lot of cash games where I'm the only European. I really, really enjoy it. I know it's not the most comfortable feeling if you don't speak the language and they can speak it, but I'm not worried about any cheating here, so it doesn't bother me at all. It's not like a cash game where you gotta be really careful that nothing shady is happening. I feel very safe here.
Yeah. So personally, I came here as a player. I fired 8 events. I've cashed 0. For some of the reasons being high variance, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
For someone who's just transitioning as an MTT player, but they're going through their first big downswing, they're not cashing, how do someone like you, a successful poker player, you've been in the game, how does someone like you handle a dry spell and stay motivated to keep firing?
Right. Yeah, it's always gonna happen. So you just gotta get used to it. If you play live tournaments especially, there's so much variance, even if you don't play in Asia. I remember having a WSOP with like 40 entries, and I think I min cashed 1. So
out of 40 entries?
Yeah. Wow. So that was probably the longest I didn't cash. And it's really demotivating. Yeah. You gotta be bankrolled for the tournaments. If you play the high rollers, either you can try swapping pieces or selling action to decrease the variance a little, because it can get really expensive and it can last a long time. It's still live tournaments. Online you can play hundreds of tournaments very quickly, but live, not so much.
All right, if you can go back in time and give the younger you some advice, what are some key pieces of advice that you would give them as a beginning poker player?
Well, overall, I'm very happy about my career and my choices that I made. But obviously, I got very lucky, especially in the beginning. I mean, I moved to London with a very small bankroll. That's probably not going well most of the time. I would say my approach was always to try to outwork everyone, try to outwork the variance. I was living with Dominic Nietzsche in London, who's also who's way more successful than me, and just won a Venom a few days ago. And it was always a big battle because I was living with other high-stakes players as well.
Yeah.
But Dominic is such a hard worker; it's very tough to outwork him. So that was always my challenge. And I think these kind of goals are good to have. Just putting in the time. No matter what you do, if you want to be successful, you have to put in the time, and you have to do work as hard as possible. And I always try to still have a lot of fun, partying. Now that I get older, it's a bit tougher, but just having a good time and enjoy the process.
Yeah. So study, try to outwork everyone, and have fun and enjoy the game. Yeah, those are all key things to be a driven poker player for sure. Now, what's next for you? You're in Asia. You're about to wrap up the series here. What's next for you?
I believe I'm going to Macau in a few days. It's fairly close from here, and I want to play some cash games, and then after that focus on online coin poker and all these things coming up.
Well, thank you for taking the time, and we hope to see you again at the next Asia Poker Tour.
Shout out to my family as always, my mom, dad, watching. They always ask me about the live reporting, so big success here. They said it's the best website, very nice to navigate. And in general, Michael Loeser, Victor, everyone, they're doing an amazing job here. It was my first time, but I'll very likely be back in Taipei just because I had such a good experience.
Well, good luck, man, and it was nice. It was a pleasure meeting you. And
yeah, pleasure meeting you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, man.